Well, now that the Horus has finally released for retail sale, I can assume that I am no longer under NDA, and I can talk about my experiences with the Horus. I did get a Horus a few months ago, and I don't have it anymore. And so I'm here to tell you my thoughts about the Horus and why I don't have it anymore. The main reason I don't have it anymore, and this must be acknowledged, is that in some ways I'm a hater. I try to like new things, but if the new things aren't very similar to the old things I'm used to, or if the new things don't immediately like wow me with some amazing feature that just knocks me off my feet, a lot of times it takes me some time to warm up to them, and I acknowledge that. But having spent several hundreds of dollars to buy the Horus, and no, I did not get it for free, I was offered the opportunity to buy it. I have no hard feelings about that, but it does mean that when it arrived in the mail and I didn't immediately love it, my first thought was, holy cow, I spent how much on this? So that definitely played into it. The Horus is larger and heavier than the Tyrannus, and that's intentional. Many people feel that the Tyrannus feels like a kind of a cheap, plasticky toy, and they want something a little more substantial. And for them, the Horus is going to deliver. The Horus is wider, though, and I didn't like how it felt in my hands. I felt like the Tyrannus is a good width. The Horus being wider, it kind of felt like it half wanted to be a tray radio, but it wasn't quite a tray radio, and it just didn't like the way my hands felt wrapped around it and working the sticks. I use my thumbs on the sticks. I don't pinch them, and I found that I felt like my hand was a little stretched out to access the sticks. And I find it very easy on the Tyrannus when I'm working the sticks with my thumbs to reach up with my fingers and adjust all the switches. On the Horus, I found it a little harder to do. The switches were not as readily to hand. Their location it feels kind of like a half tray radio, half regular radio, and it doesn't seem quite as good at the Tyrannus as just accessing all the switches and knobs from just when you're under the goggles, for example, and you can't see what you're doing. I was also really annoyed, and this is just my personality. I was really annoyed that it didn't ship with OpenTX, and I know you can flash OpenTX to the Horus. I'm aware of that. Thank you very much. Fill the comments up telling me that you can do that. I know that. But I was annoyed that it didn't ship with it because I love that the Tyrannus ships with OpenTX on it and that it's made to be this hackable, amazing tool, right? That's why I love the Tyrannus so much. The fact that the Horus ships with this, can I say dumbed down? That's a little mean, but it's this dumbed down firmware that's supposed to be, I think, more accessible for the average person. And frankly, when you have even very intelligent people like Final Glide complaining in a Rotor Riot video that he can't figure out how to freaking put Expo on a Tyrannus, well, there's some point to that. But I'm not the guy who wants a dumbed down, simplified interface. I want all my bells and whistles. And it annoyed me that that FrSky made this decision, a marketing decision, probably the right decision, but it's a decision that alienated me just a little bit. But I'll tell you the reason that I don't own a Horus anymore, and it has to do with the picture that's on screen right now, and this was the final straw for me. It's not the soft button. I can live with a soft button for on-off. It's not the cover to the soft button. It is the way that the neck strap attaches to the radio. The neck strap passes through this soft button. You see that little oval right there at the top of the soft button? That's for the neck strap. Now, the first thing I noticed when I went to put the neck strap on was that the neck strap was too wide to fit through this hole. I had to really squeeze it through there like with a forceps and a pair of pliers. It was just too wide. It wasn't made to fit that hole. So I finally get the neck strap through this hole, and when I hang the thing from my neck, and first of all, can I say hanging the whole radio from a hinged cover, that hinges, do you think that's a good idea? That hinge isn't going to wear out over time and break? Like my Tyrannus has this great big honking lug in the middle of it that the neck strap attaches to, right? You're going to hang the whole Horus from this hinge? I mean, hey, look, I don't design radios for a living, but that seems a little questionable to me. Feels like that's going to wear out and break. Okay, but then I hang the dang thing from the radio, or from the neck strap, and the frickin' thing flips open and the radio tips over. It doesn't hang level. There's no balance bar you can use to adjust the balance point so that the radio hangs level. And the frickin' cover flips open from the weight of the radio. And I'm like, has no one ever used a neck strap on this radio? Because this is just clearly no one has ever hung this thing from a neck strap and tried to fly with it. Am I just in crazy? Am I land here? I don't know. And that was the final straw for me. You know, I spent several hundreds of dollars getting it. When it showed up, I didn't immediately love it. The Hall effect gimbals, I must just be, the gimbals didn't feel that much better than my Tyrannus gimbals. I'm sure they're wonderful, and I'm just an idiot. I'm sure that the Hall effect gimbals are going to last way longer than potentiometers. I'm sure that, you know, I mean, I just had to replace my Tyrannus gimbals because they weren't recentering, and I've only had my Tyrannus for a little, something over a year, not 2 years for sure. So I guarantee you the Horus gimbals are going to be way better than that. But, you know, off the bat, they didn't feel that in terms of smoothness, in terms of weight, and all that stuff. They didn't immediately blow me away. I've tried people's high-tech gimbals, and they all feel the same to me, so maybe that's just me. My point is, I spent hundreds of dollars to get the thing. It showed up on my doorstep. It didn't immediately blow me away. And then this freaking thing with a neck strap was the final straw. And I said, I'm going to forget it. I want my money back. And I sold it to another person who was in the NDA program and who wanted to use it. And there you go. That's why I don't have a Horus. I don't fly a Horus. I'm not interested in a Horus. At a price point of around $500, I'd rather have 2 Tyrannus. And the battery is inside. So if you want to switch the NiCad out for a LiPo, like many people do on their Tyrannus, you can't. I mean, I guess you could open it up, you could unscrew it and open it up, fine. But then how are you gonna freaking charge your LiPo? No, you can't, because you can't charge your LiPo because you only have that one little barrel jack that you use to charge, and you can't charge a LiPo that way. You have to hook it up to a balance connector. So you can't put a LiPo in it if you want to. Forget it, not an option. And I've heard stories about people who it like locks up on them and they have to power cycle it. So they got to get a freaking screwdriver out and take it apart to get at the battery. So yeah, great. That's, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, and one more thing. This giant honking LCD screen. Oh, it's so pretty. And you know what? I could throw my Tyrannus in the bottom of my flight bag and just toss it in there, toss other stuff on. You know, I'm not careless with it. But that freaking screen on the Horus, you're going to be carrying that thing around in a freaking case everywhere. You're not going to just toss that into your flight bag with your copters and scratch up that beautiful screen. But what is it, you know, I could do all the programming I need on my Tyrannus with the stupid little LCD screen it's got. I don't need a big fancy screen, so that's just a liability right there. Anyway, that's why I don't have a Horus anymore. I can't think of anything else that I didn't like about it. I didn't like it. I just want something that is simple and elegant and not something that is fancy and pricey and I don't know, I didn't like it. There you go. That. Well, okay, that's why I don't have a Horus anymore. If you're sitting there going, whatever happened to that Horus that Joshua had? What did he think about that? What's your opinion of it? I didn't like it, and at a price of $500, I definitely don't like it. I'd rather have 2 Tyrannuses, frankly. So that's me. There's other people out there who think the Tyrannus feels like a cheap plastic piece of junk toy. They hate the gimbals. They think it's terrible, and they will be thrilled to buy the Horus, and more power to them. But for me, I'll take my Tyrannus every day. Happy flying with a Tyrannus or whatever, but just happy flying. Bye.